Hello and welcome to our look ahead to what the papers will be bringing us tomorrow. And look who we've got with us tonight. For the second time in a day, Yasmin Alibhai-Brown from The Independent's back. No, we're thrilled. And journalist Eve Pollard. You make me feel like the Office Junior. Lovely to be here with you both. Let's take a look at the front pages of the morning newspapers now. And The Observer says Scots will be offered a radical new deal on more powers for Holyrood to try to persuade people to vote no in the independence referendum. A new YouGov poll suggests support for the yes vote is growing stronger. The Sunday Times claims Scotland is on course to vote for independence later this month. The Mail on Sunday carries a warning from the Labour leader Ed Miliband that manned border posts could be introduced if Scotland votes for independence. The Sunday Telegraph carries a picture of the author J.K. Rowling, who famously donated to the Better Together campaign. Their main story is that MPs are likely to get a 10% pay rise next year. And the Welsh singer Catherine Jenkins is pictured on the front of Scotland's Sunday Post with the slightly confusing tagline, "I'm so proud to be Scots." We might work that out a little later. Let's begin then with The Observer. Scots to be offered radical new deal in bid to save the union. Convention offer to halt yes surge. New opinion poll will shock Britain. Yasmin, this is the poll that we've been expecting, isn't it? It's this, at this point in the campaign, just 11 days to go until this historic vote. And for the first time, very symbolically, it looks as if the Yes campaign have nudged ahead.
Yes, and it's still, everything's up for grabs. I think no one side can be seriously overconfident. But I think it hasn't played... I've been in Scotland twice in the last 6 weeks. Once in Edinburgh and once in the Borders. And what was clear when I spoke to people there is they did not like the bullying way the No campaign, big voices of the No campaign were going on. They felt they were being put under undue pressure. They felt, you know, we're grown-ups, we will think about it. Some of them didn't know, really didn't know which way they would do. I think
some people still don't.
Yeah, they said, it'll depend on how I feel when I go in. But I think whatever happens, Alex Hammond has actually won. Because even if it is no, they will get so many more concessions. And that's the Observer story. They've already been, kind of hints are up that they will have a new a convention, you know, all kinds of new arrangements will be offered. Just stay with us and we can come to an agreement.
I might be rather cynical
Go
about
on,
that. Well, because governments promise these things and then the civil servants get hold of it and then it sort of doesn't really happen. I mean, if you think about it, you've got separatists or people who want to be independent all over the world. It's part of a zeitgeist at the moment. And I have always expected that in the end it might turn out just to be a vote for independence, because there's been so much negativity from this side, and also there's been so much "we'll frighten you." Now, the very first thing, if somebody says, "I'll frighten you into this," makes you think, OK, I'll show you who's boss, and that's my tick in the ballot box. And, you know, they've been talking about all these things they're going to give the Scots just to persuade them. Well, they've had a long time.
I know.
This is exactly what we're going to give you.
It reminds
me. And here we are, 11 days before. It's a bit like dealing with a boyfriend. I'm afraid you now have to not accept the phone call.
So it should have been more carrot than stick all along.
Yes, but there are some really serious reasons that I think the Scots are thinking about this, and those need to be thought about as well. It's quite clear to me that the way the Scots imagine their society is very different from the way our bigger British sort of imagination is going, in that they are very socialist-minded. Their nearest kind of ideals are the Scandinavian countries, whereas, whether we like it or not, I think our British governments, successive governments, have veered towards the Anglo-Saxon, much more ruthlessly capitalistic model.
At times?
No, I think ever since, from Margaret Thatcher to now, there's been an unbroken through Blair, Brown.
I don't know whether it's necessary that we want to be like Americans. We live in bigger cities. We live a different life. I mean, just life, you know, when you go to Scotland, I've only been to Scotland to do bits of work and to have holidays. it's just a smaller group of people.
Well,
I mean, London, let's be very honest, the problem perhaps of the British Isles is London runs
I think
everything.
we should become a city-state. I think that's the
I'd like to be
next
queen.
bit of devolution.
Could I be queen?
Yes, you can
I mean,
be
of
queen.
course, not
You can be
the
queen.
real queen. She's the real queen. But
You can be
I
queen
could
of
perhaps
London.
Just, you know, I could run London.
But the
You could
other thing
manage
is that
could you need to speak to Boris about that.
every Scots person I met while I was there, yes or no, is very pro-European.
Let's move on to the Sunday
Okay?
Times, because that's where
a big difference too.
That's where they've got the YouGov poll. They've commissioned this. Yes vote leads in Scott's poll. Unionists fear Queen fears breakup of the UK. Now, David Cameron's due to breakfast with the Queen tomorrow, and the Queen,
That'll
of
be
course,
an interesting
won't
conversation,
it? I mean, she's not, you know, obviously publicly doesn't express an opinion, but in the Sunday Times, a royal source is said to say that the Queen is a unionist. Well, we would expect that she is. She is the Queen of Scotland as well, isn't she?
So is David Cameron. I mean, so are most of us in our hearts. We are part of Great Britain. But, you know, you just have to have some imagination to think, after all, the Queen will still be Queen of Scotland.
Yes, and
but there's a talk of a constitutional issue. They're in uncharted territory, they're saying. They don't know how she'll be
not
affected.
beyond human wit to try and sort out something.
None of it is.
None of
Yasmin.
it is.
None of it is.
None of it is.
And actually, Her Majesty, who's been brilliant all the way through, will find her way through and it will work fine if they do vote to secede.
I noticed Charles has got a kilt on. Is it the kilt?
Yes,
It is.
of course
Well,
it
it's
is.
the Braemar Games.
Gathering.
You'd have to wear a kilt.
So, you know,
everywhere.
of course
Everybody
it's a
wears kilt.
statement. They are there. They're with the Scots. The Scots aren't going to get an elected head of government.
You don't think they're going to become a republic just at the same time?
No, I wish they would,
They've
but they
always
won't.
said that they actually wanted
Yeah.
the Queen to remain head of state.
Let's look at the Mail on Sunday.
Now, this-
Miliband will put up guards on Scottish border, and then you turn inside and it says a new Hadrian's Wall for Scotland.
Can I say, can we get duty-free as we go across? Is that how it's going to work? I mean, this, if anything would want to make you go and vote for independence, this is a crazy idea. I mean, you can almost see a porridge being written by the guys who have to man this Hadrian's Wall. They're going to be towers like they were in Berlin.
And
they're going
which
to shoot
way-
people
which
who
way
cross
will-
over with too many bottles of malt whiskey. I mean, it's
Which
just...
way will it flow? I mean, you know, I'm getting old.
Yeah.
Actually, old people get a much better deal in Scotland. So am I going to move to Scotland?
Oh, you might.
Or is it going to be
a nice little
just-
retirement village?
Exactly. You get
And you've got that,
free
you know, you've got
care,
that
you know.
warmer sea.
So
absolutely.
all of us could move up there. So who is it going to stop?
Can I
Which
say, whoever
movement?
has advised David Miliband, who must be very worried because,
Ed
of course,
Miliband.
Ed Miliband, yes, who must be very worried because, of course, a lot of his MPs come from
Yes.
Scotland.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, this is just insane. I mean, the idea that you're going to have to go through customs, which frankly you don't do now over most of Europe. The idea that you are now leaving Scotland, I think they've done a thing, and what are you going to have to do? Check how many shortbread biscuits you've got. I mean, it's just insanity.
Let's move on to the Daily Telegraph. We can move away just for a moment from the Scottish referendum. MPs to get 10% pay rise, exclusive, says the Sunday Telegraph.